The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Podcast coming to you April 20th, 2023. It is 420 day for all those that celebrate. I'm not saying I do necessarily. I'm just saying that people do celebrate 420. Kind of fitting that Metallica put up their the new video today for a new album today called "You Must Burn." Go figure. Not sure if that's on purpose or not, but which. We'll talk about that down the road, reviewing the album, of course. I got a lot to say on that, but I want to wait for another podcast to do that. So I'm going to do it today. But say, you know what? We get another week or two to breathe before I do that. Anyway, this podcast, of course, all podcast catchers, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, you name it. You know what's up. Anyway, kind of feeling pretty good these days. Feeling pretty good. Revealed last week, a couple days ago, that I am actually down 10 pounds now. You guys know I've been on this journey now, better health, want to live longer, as long as I can, see my kids get older, my wife and I grow old together, you know, all those dreams we had growing, you know, when we first started dating. I want to fulfill those dreams, and I can't do that if I'm not in the best health possible. You guys know I announced 2 months ago that I was officially diabetic, type 2 diabetic. Which of course is reversible for the record. People don't know that, but it's not a death sentence in the slightest. You can reverse this with good diet and exercise and lifestyle changes, which I have been doing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's been challenging at times. I get cravings at times. I've don't do cheat days, but I have, you know, as I've now started to figure out how to balance the scales a little bit now. I'm on medication, for example, too, so that helps a little bit. I've been able to be a little, you can get a donut once in a blue moon. Not all the time, but once in a blue moon, or a cookie once in a blue moon. You know, the one thing, this is where I'm very proud of myself on this one. The one thing I'm very proud of that I have not gone back to, nor do I really plan on going back to at this point, is sodas. Because I'll say it again, I'm convinced that my love and addiction of sodas is what got me here in the first place. Obviously, other things, you know, lack of exercise in recent years. Obviously, I love rice. Rice turns into you know, it's considered a bad carb. It turns into sugar. Things of nature. But I'm convinced that sodas is the main reason I got here. The main reason why I became diabetic. Because that's the thing, you know, you learn about this is what I'm doing now, is I'm learning about the body and about the health and about how these things work. Because honestly, I was so ignorant to how this stuff works. Like, you're told to eat healthy, you're told to do this and that, but you don't know. I didn't really know how these things operated in that way. How do you get to a place where you're diabetic? Well, how do you get a place? How does your sugar spike? That kind of thing. You know, and I learned that. Obviously, with liquids, you go straight down to your system. So sodas was full of sugar, added sugar, artificial sweeteners, you name it, all that stuff. The sodas go straight down and spikes your insulin immediately. It spikes it immediately. There's no blockage. Even if you eat cake or donuts once in a while, which is not good for you either, for the record. At least your body is allowed to break it down somewhat. It's still bad, but it at least gives the body up to, because your body needs to be able to break down these kind of things. Sodas don't do that. Any sugar drink for that matter, but especially sodas, which has a ton of bad things in there. It's literally poison. Really, think about it. My dad's always saying, you know, I don't know why I drink that stuff for. It's like literally poison. Like, if you want to kill yourself when you gain weight, just keep drinking that. You'll do that. And that stuff just goes straight to your system and straight into your body, and it spikes everything. So even if as I've not tailed off, as I've allowed myself to be a little more, okay, I'll have a cheat here once in the blue moon, but I still have a basics. I don't eat late. I'm still intermittent fasting. My blood sugar levels are actually really good now. I just tested this morning. I had a 106, which is actually, I'm like 7 points away from a perfect score. because the doctor wants to be at like in the 90s, like mid 90s. So I had a 102 last week for record. So I've been getting scores in the hundreds, 120s and stuff. You know, last night my wife made a fantastic enchiladas, but what she did was she made it on a tortilla with no carb tortilla. That was last night. I ate last night, so we were curious about how my sugar would be in the morning. And this morning I checked, it was 106. Obviously, it was fantastic. So that, that's I'm starting to like to be a little more realistic with it. I'll have a cheat here once in the blue moon, but I'm not off the wagon. That's the important thing. My birthday's in 10 days, and I told my wife, listen, on my birthday, no offense, I'm going to be a little more loose with that one. I want to get my ice cream cake like every year. I want to get my food I get once in a while and have fun with it, because I think I've earned I've earned this now in these last couple months, really eating healthy and whatnot. Intermittent fasting to me has been the very crutch of this stuff for me. Intermittent fasting has been pretty much, the foundation of everything I'm doing here, because that is highly recommended by people who have diabetes to go to fast, to allow your body to recover and to eat any of the fats and natural fats in your body. You give your body 16 plus hours to recover. You're in a good spot. So I checked it a couple days ago. I'm 10 pounds down from what I was when I first started this journey. My goal is to get to 180, maybe possibly 170. 180 definitely is my goal. I'm at 204 right now. This is my lowest weight I've been at since leaving high school. And that was 25 years ago, 1998. So I'm very proud of myself there on that. So that's the one update there. No update here, which I'm sure you guys didn't appreciate. That a couple episodes ago, I had a episode titled what was it called? It was called Canceling the Gym. It was called what was it called? Let me see. Oh yeah, it was on March 30th. It was called "Am I Wasting My Gym Membership?" You guys remember that, right? That episode got a lot of feedback from people. Friends of mine listened to that episode and got back to me, and I know that this is the episode itself, but the title alone sparked some emotion with people. Cause I explained in the episode that I had a gym membership at Planet Fitness I've had for like 5 years, and I've rarely used it, and I'm wasting $10 and change a month, which adds up to $120 plus a year, obviously, and I was now with this journey I'm on now, is the gym something I should be considering doing? Well, here's the thing. I've realized as I've gotten older, I don't really enjoy going to the gym anyway. Like, I like to walk. I like to walk, to do cardio. And you don't need a gym for that. As long as the weather permits, obviously. You can go out and walk. I can walk 2 to 3 miles a day, and I'm okay there. And I get all the things I need. Plus, I've always done, when I was working out a lot in my heyday, even if I went to the gym a lot, I also used to work out at home. I'll do Taekwondo, I'll do like any sort of aerobics and stuff of that nature for my body. In Pilates. Well, announcement here. I finally, after 5 years, canceled my gym membership last week. Now, it's worth noting that they did get one more payment out of me, because unfortunately when I went in to cancel my gym membership last Thursday, the cycle for the new month had already started, like by 2-3 days. So those fuckers got another $10 out of me. But after May 10th, I think is when it ends. So I can go to the gym now and use it for the time being. I'm probably not going to use it anyway. But after May 10th, I'll be free of the gym membership. Finally. Yes, a waste of damn money. It's a waste of damn money. For me anyway. Because again, you don't need to go to a gym to work out. One of my buddies, James, he tells me all the time, and he works all the time. He goes, that's a waste of money. Just go home, do push-ups, sit-ups, do plank, walk, run. And not only that, if I'm going to do a gym at this point, I'm going to do a gym. I rather use my house as a place to do that. I rather turn my garage into a gym itself. Number one, I'm going to get a natural sweat, because in a garage is not much hotter, and I'd rather work out in a place where I'm going to get a sweat. It's supposed to be somewhere where it's air conditioned, and granted, you got TVs there and all that, good, all the amenities there come with that. But I don't want amenities. If I'm going to the gym, I'm going to bust my ass and work hard. That's it, But right now with my neck issue, when I'm still recovering, obviously, and I'm not really in a place to be doing a lot of high resistant things here to not yet. So I'm leaning on the cardio thing, and I'm trying to lose weight anyway. I'm trying to lose weight, trying to slim down, trying to just be healthy. Whatever I decide to do in a year to come, like comes to working out and all that, we'll see how that goes. But my number one goal right now is to be healthy, to live, to make sure my blood sugar is low. Because I'm about a month away from going back to the doctor and doing another blood work and checking my A1C levels and seeing where my if that 11.4% I had when I tested back in February is lower now, and my goal is to get down to at least 8%. I don't know how much percentage you can improve in 1 3 month sitting. They say typically you can drop it as low as 2 to 3% at a time, because it takes the body a little bit of time to flush out all of the bad stuff in your system, and I can feel it too in my body, like as I'm continuing this journey. Because I used to feel very frayed, like my bones and my arteries felt very frayed. You can feel it. That's how I know I was diabetic, because I can feel it in my body. I didn't feel good. I felt frayed. Hard to explain what that means, but because a lot of things they say is like when you neuropathy, for example, like you feel certain numbness in certain parts of your body depending on how bad it is, and I've had that, and now I'm not getting that as much in the last 2 months as I've gone to continue this journey. But yeah, that's the focus here for me, is just to be healthy, man. Stay healthy, be healthy, both on a physical level, on a mental level, especially too, because that also obviously controls a lot of what I'm going to be doing going forward. Spiritual, of course, but yeah, that's where we're at now with this, and hopefully, I'm gonna continue to do that. Even my kids are on me now. If I even have a thought to getting something that's bad for me, my oldest son Eli goes, "No, you can't, Dad. You can't do that. No, can't do that. Can't do that." So I have people here close to me holding me accountable for those things I'm doing. So anyway, it is my favorite time of year. It is like Christmas time for me, because it is the NBA playoffs. We are, as is recording today, of course, next on Thursday afternoon here. Empty house, wife's at work, kids are at school. Got another hour or 2 hours hour and a half before I pick the kids from school. So every series now is 2 games in. So tonight starts the first set of game 3s. So let's just see where we're at now with the series now in the East first. The East pretty much is well defined, in my opinion. I mean, other than maybe one series or not. 1-8 Bucks Heat. Obviously, I'm invested. For the record, the winner of that series, I'm rooting for in the title. Obviously, I'm a Heat fan, so if they win the whole series, I'm rooting for them to win the whole thing, obviously. But also the Bucks. I love the Bucks. I love Giannis. He's my favorite player in the league, and I love to see him win another title. I explained to I said on Football Podcast last week that he was number 4 most pressure in the league right now. Players most pressure in the league coming into the playoffs, and the reason I said that was because of the fact that if he wins this title this year, now that's 2 now for him. Okay, now you're talking about Giannis in an all-time great perspective. You're talking about him now in a possible top 15, top 20, top 15 conversation, especially winning titles in Milwaukee of all places too. So, but that's now 1-1. Giannis missed game 2. Didn't matter. The Bucks went nuts from 3 in that game. That game was frustrating as hell to watch. Not gonna lie, I actually picked the Bucks win the game regardless. I didn't think they would win that way though. But the Heat got 1 game out of that series. Giannis got hurt in game 1, so I expect that series to end pretty quickly. As a Heat fan, I'm unfortunate to say this, but I expect the Bucks to finish this series relatively quickly. Especially with I'm gonna assume Giannis will be back for game 3. I'm assuming, because he was actually upgraded to questionable yesterday, and then they said no, they'll sit him down. They didn't need him anyway yesterday, so they did their job. 2-7, that's also that's Celtics and Hawks. That's a 2-0 series now. Celtics are dummy, and the Hawks are now both games won with double digits. That's, again, I had the Bucks and I had the Hawks in 5 in that series as well. I had the Bucks in 5 against the Heat. This might end in a sweep, honestly. Maybe the Hawks has 1 game on the road, on home rather. Maybe they catch one night, Boston falls asleep. I don't know. This looks like a sweep going forward. This could be the end of Trae Young in Atlanta too. We'll see how that goes. 3-6 Sixers and Nets. That's also 2-0 series. Philadelphia pretty much dominating the series as well too. No surprise there. I had it as a sweep originally. I think we're going that direction as well too. Game 2 a little more competitive than Game 1, but Philadelphia's is a much better team. Even when James Harden playing that crap in Game 2. Then 4-5 is the one that's the series that's really the most enticing of the first round, and that is the Cavs and the Knicks. The Cavs even things up 2 nights ago rather, in Game 2. Maybe I'll go to the Garden for Game 3 and beyond. That's been a fun series so far to watch. And then on the West, we have 1-8. That's Nuggets and Timberwolves. Nuggets up 2-0. I thought maybe Minnesota wins in 6 games. Not Minnesota, sorry, Denver in 6 games rather. That series going to end a lot quicker than that. Game 2 was competitive though. Minnesota came back from 20-point deficit, came back, took a 1-point lead, and then Jamal Murray went nuts last night in that game. By the way, I also had Cavs in 7. This because you didn't know that I had Cavs in 7 in that series of the Knicks. 2-7 in the West. Grizzlies and Lakers. Lots of talk about the Grizzlies getting swept, losing 5 games. Instead, they bounce back, tie the series up against the Lakers without John Morant. We'll monitor that situation, see how long he'll be out for. John Morant. We'll see how that goes. I just like the Lakers that series. I had Grizzlies in 6 originally, but I'm going to change my pick on that one now. Lakers look good. Look really good. They let one slip by last night. They really did. 3-6 in the West. That's the best series so far. The first round. That's Kings and Warriors. The Kings up 2-0. Obviously, we following the story. Draymond Green be out for Game 3 due to the stomp he did on Domantas Sabonis in Game 2. We can see the end of this Warriors dynasty. The end of Draymond Green possibly in Golden State now. I had Warriors in 6 originally. I don't know if the Kings win Game 3. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. They look like they belong here, and they've been those horses like De'Aaron Fox and those guys have been fantastic through these first 2 games. I'm looking forward to Game 3 tonight. Looking forward to it. And then the 4-5 matchup, Suns and Clippers. That's not even a one apiece. Clippers steal Game 1. Kawhi looks like old Kawhi again when healthy, obviously. Suns. I came to the playoffs saying this. The Suns. I was one of the few people out there not completely convinced that this Suns team was a heavy favorite. Yeah, they're one of the favorites because they got Kevin Durant and Booker and those guys. But at the same time, the lack of depth concerned me, and that cost me Game 1. In Game 2, that was touch and go for a little while too as well. I had Suns in 7 originally too, especially. But I don't know. Let's see how this next 2 games in LA goes, because I think the Clippers win the next 2 games, especially at home. That could go a long way. But also people put a lot of pressure on the Suns this year, Twin Tower this year. Their window's open for another 2-3 years now, because with Kevin Durant, being traded there, his contract up another 4 years. They have a little more time to win titles. So that's why I was saying this year, people are using this year as like get done now or never at all. I'm not with that yet. I think Phoenix's window's not open a lot more wider than people give credit for. So there's that. Also, regarding the playoffs too, man, you guys know I love NBA basketball. Love it. Favorite sport in the whole world. Favorite league in the whole world. The whole 9. But I gotta tell you, and I never complain about this stuff until now. And it's probably because I'm getting old. Probably because I'm turning 43 in another week and a half or so. These late night games are killing me. Now, I get it during the week. You get nothing to do about that. During the week, you have to have 10:30 games because it's just what time zones and all that. Totally get all that. But having, for example, so Saturday this past week for the opening of the playoffs, they ran 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. First game started at 1 o'clock, then 3:30, then 6 o'clock, then 8:30. So the last game ends at 11 o'clock approximately on a Saturday. Which, by the way, most people in the world don't work. Most people don't work on Sunday, or go to school on Sunday. So it makes sense. My thing is this though. I had an issue with the Sunday schedule because Sunday they ran the 3 o'clock first game, then 5:30, then 8 o'clock, and then 10:30. Most people around the world work on Mondays and go to schools on Mondays. So why wouldn't you put the Saturday schedule on Sunday instead, and vice versa? See, you can justify doing a 10:30 Eastern Standard Time game on a Saturday because, again, most people don't go to work until on Sunday next morning, so staying up late is not a big deal. Including myself, I don't work on Sundays, so I stay up till, even though I will probably still struggle because I'm still I like to go to bed at a certain time. I'd be happy to stay up because I know that the next day I don't have to worry about going to take my kids to school and going to work. But you do that schedule on a Sunday, that I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Look, during the week, I totally get it. You don't think about that. During the week, everybody's at work. You got to balance it out. I get all that. But on the weekend, why is your 10:30 game on a Sunday, not on a Saturday instead? You should have flipped the schedules and had the Saturday schedule be the Sunday schedule and vice versa. Or just do both days the same way. I don't know. Didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense to me, honestly. But, again, that's the backstage politics of media, television rights, the whole nine. I'm not getting all that. But otherwise, this has been a fun first couple days of the playoffs. People complain about, the playoffs too long, the first round's too long. Why are you complaining? Why are you rushing through the playoffs? Like, well, once this is over, it's over. You know, why are you rushing it? Spread it out. Win more if you have to. I don't care. It's great. I love having, and they say NBA basketball, NBA playoffs are like another season. It really is. And that's a good thing. I love it. 2 months. Again, why are we complaining about NBA basketball being too long? I don't know. Look, if you don't watch the product, then who cares? But yeah, people who watch the product complain about, like, we need more the games. We need these series to end faster. For what reason? I don't understand that. I never got that. So, but anyway, like I said, Game 3's tonight. Who plays tonight? Let me see who plays tonight before I get to the next topic here. So tonight, I know the Warriors and Kings play tonight though. But tonight's games, you got Sixers and Nets to kick us off. Oh yeah, both best games. Wow, this is not that smart. Kings Warriors at 10:00 tonight. Suns Clippers at 10:30. You have two fantastic series now around the same time. I guess we're working double duty on my TV today. And I'll be up late anyway tonight because I'm watching. I record my wrestling podcast with my guys on Tasty Wrestling every Thursday night at 10-ish, 10:30-ish. Don't get done till like 1:00 in the morning. So tonight's one of the nights I don't really care. Because I'll be up anyway. But man. All right. Let me see. That's a TNT game, isn't it? Okay. Anyway, Clay Travis. You guys know I'm not the biggest Clay Travis fan in the world. At least not anymore, anyway. Clay Travis was actually on Stephen A. Smith's podcast this past Monday. Stephen A. has another show. It's not an ESPN affiliated show. It's Stephen A.'s show on the side. Called No Mercy, KNOW, but they also promote the NL as well in the middle. I've been a fan of this show for a little bit now. Well, I want to say a little bit. It's only been out like 6 months, 8 months since last fall. I enjoy it because Stephen A's show, this show, is not sports centric. It's everything. He talks about sports once in a while in there, but he also talks about politics, talks about culture, and anything else under the sun. So, what people don't know about Stephen A. Smith is that he's also, even though he's let's say a liberal-leaning guy, he says independent, but definitely leans more left, politically speaking anyway. He is friends with Sean Hannity from Fox. He is friends with Mark Levin from Fox. He does have conservative friends and people who he's had on his podcast. He's not friends with Clay Travis, but he had him on his podcast this past Monday. A lot of blowback from people about that because people don't like the fact that, why would you platform this guy Clay Travis on your podcast? And I share Stephen A. Smith's, I share his feeling on this. Why not? First off, why not? We're having a conversation here. He's not promoting Clay Travis's work. They're having a conversation. You can agree and disagree on things, okay? And they did on the podcast. They did. But you can have an open conversation. See, the things people realize is that the only way to get real perspective on the other side, you have to know what the hell they're talking about, first off. You have to be somewhat knowledgeable on the other side to talk about the other side first. I have always preached this on this podcast. You know, I have people on this who come on the show who don't share the same political positions as I do. Now, for the record, because I'm a moderate, because I'm in the middle, politically speaking, although I probably lean left on certain issues, you know, because of that, I pretty much clash with almost everybody I'm with, because though there are people I may agree with on most things, some topics we'll just clash on. Even some of the people are my friends. Like, you got Mark Francois and I've been boys for over a decade. You know, he's very liberal in a lot of ways. Well, not always. He's very liberal. He'll even tell you that. And him and I clash on certain topics on that too. It's okay. Don't have a different opinion on certain things. So I actually enjoyed the Clay Travis thing. And here's why I'm a little more invested in this too. The Clay Travis Beat on Stephen A's podcast is because I've been, I won't say a fan, but I've been following Clay Travis for a long time, for over a decade, mainly because of the college football analysis and stuff. And I've watched this, you know, watched this process go in the mid-aughts when he started, you know, Outkick, and then they started becoming more political, which I have no problem with. I have a problem with that. I have no problem with people talking about politics. That's your opinion. Yeah, you have it right. And some of the things he says I agree with. Most I don't. But some things he says make some sense. But my problem with Clay Travis for 30 years, and I've been very vocal about this for many years, is that he promotes himself as though he's being fair and balanced. He's not. He's an armchair of the right wing. Because, again, being fair and balanced means you have criticisms on both sides. You cannot tell me that the right, the side that you are mostly leaning on, and for the record, this guy was involved in Democratic politics growing up. He was involved in Al Gore's campaign in 2000. He voted for Barack Obama twice. You know, you can't tell me you're fair and balanced when all your criticisms is toward the left. Everything you talk about is anti-ESPN, anti-NBA, anti-woke culture. That's all you talk about. That's all you talk about. Anti-trans. You know, that's all you talk about. There's no balance on there. And I know this because as I said a couple minutes ago, I listen. Because the only way you're going to have a perspective on that is listening to what they're saying. So that's why, this is the problem I've had with Clay Travis for a couple of years now. And it's why I was going back and forth with him, you know, because he frustrates me because he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. But it's almost grifting-like. It's almost like he's a grifter. He's more frustrating to me because he's a guy that, if you want someone that's down the middle and common sense based and being fair and balanced, he's the guy that I believe would be that. And so he's not. He claims he is, but he's not. You know. But the conversation with him and Stephen A was really good. Discussing, you know, politics at large and some of the issues there, the upcoming election next year, and, you know, Donald Trump, you know, running for president again, and a lot of things in that conversation. I would encourage you guys to listen to it. Obviously, if you don't want to listen to it, that's on you. But I enjoyed the conversation. I thought it was very healthy. I think Clay's gonna have Steve on his show, one of his shows, in the future. But I enjoyed the conversation. The same thing like with when you have like Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher talking on either of their platforms. It's healthy. It's very healthy. A lot of my friends are friends that are Trumpers, MAGA Trumpers, and we and them get into it all the time about discussions. But as long as the discussions are productive, you know, I clash a lot with them on a lot of issues, but we don't kill each other at the end of the day. They have their perspective, I have mine, and we keep moving. Just that simple. That's what this was. What this in the end of the day was all that was is two guys that have differences, but are willing to talk about it and be open to those differences, because this is how the world of ideas work. You know, because look, let's be real. Not everybody sees the world the same way I do, or the same way that Stephen A. Smith does, or Clay Travis, or whoever it may be. And we need to be more sensible to that. That's all I'm saying. You have to be a fan of the guy, because I'm not. But I was curious to hear what he had to say on the show, and I was actually quite. I enjoyed the conversation. I did. I did. I disagree with a lot of you said. Some things I agree with, but most I disagree with. But that's me. So, anyway, speaking of content, I get some water here real quick. Give me 1 quick second because I'm about to get dry here. Hold on. Yeah, I got to continue with the water. That's one thing for me that I've struggled with this is I have this 32 ounce a 33 ounce bottle I have all day long with me. I take it everywhere to work with me. I take it everywhere, and I've been told that I need to drink at least 3 of these a day, and I did for a little while, but I slowed down in recent weeks. I need to get back to that. So anyway, back to content. I've been experiencing a little bit of overstimulation on content as of late. So I spoke to you guys a bunch before how YouTube has now become my number one platform in terms of following daily content in the world of sports, politics, and whatnot. A lot of the shows that I follow, what they do now, look, you have 24 hours in a day, 7 to 8 of those you need to sleep. A chunk of that, out of that, also you need to be a father and a husband, and then you work. So, but I like to see what's going on in the world, what people are saying. So, a lot of shows I follow, whether it's in politics or in sports or even in comedy or even in pro wrestling, they do a good job. A lot of shows I follow do a very good job of creating bite-sized clips on their shows. So these give you a better idea of what they're saying. So you can go through that. So a lot of times what I do go through the day is I'll go through my subscription page. I'll just add things to playlists. I have for example, on my my YouTube thing, I have different playlists. Now it's obviously private because those are my things. I have a playlist for sports, playlist for comedy, playlist for politics, playlist for pro wrestling, and I'll just add clips here and there throughout the day and watch them when I get a chance to watch them. Some of them are time sensitive. Some of them are more evergreen. A lot of the wrestling ones are evergreen, for example. So I wait. I add them to watch in a later day. But I've noticed now, when I do that, even when I do that, I get so overstimulated with it because I'll add every discussion point. For example, I'll go through the ESPN one, for the ESPN feed, for example, and I'll add not only the first take stuff, but I'll also add stuff from the show with KGM, the show with Keyshawn Johnson, Jason Williams, and Marcellus White. No, not Marcellus White. Blanking his name. I don't know why I'm doing that. Max. So I got sidetracked for a second. And Max. And then I'll add stuff from Get Up and add stuff from this every show. So it ends up filling up more time than I need to. And then, of course, I go through I have my shows I like The Herd. I'll add clips there. They put out 3 clips a day. I'll add some First Takes First with Nick Wright, which I love. I love that show. That's actually probably my favorite sports show outside of First Take. And I watch every day. So I'll do that, but then I'll start feeling overstimulated. I'll add Rich Eisen stuff. I'll add other things, random podcasts that I follow on there. But I've noticed that even with this edited down, clipped out version of stuff, I still feel overstimulated with content. So I've had now to figure out ways to, which ones can I cut away with? Which shows can I not, or which clips can I do away with? I'm going through that now too, especially. And then, the one show I love the most, on which I'm back on the horse with that, Dan Le Batard show. That show, I used to clip. I started clipping recently, but I hate it because I actually love their entire show. I actually listen to the entire 2.5 hours of their content every day. I do it in I have breaks at work and I have time to do that. I'll do it in exercise when I'm working out, whatever. So I hated that I had to sacrifice the Le Batard show for that. Which in fact I rather listen to the Le Batard show every day because it's the combination of the sports and culture and all that stuff I love, and it's a great show. I've been to the show for 19 years now. So I've been overstimulated with that, and so that's been a challenge for me. And then also on top of that, the shows I'm behind on, Succession just came back recently, and the final season's here. Obviously, I think 5 episodes into the final season. I'm still in season 3. I need to catch up on that. other shows, other like content things I want to watch. I'm behind on, which is why I've kind of like sort of like in some ways like even though I love doing the podcast, sometimes doing the podcast gets in the way because sometimes if I have this show and I try to do this show at least once twice a week, between a solo and a guest. I also have Tasty Wrestling, which I record every Thursday night, and I have during the football season I do Holla podcast every Tuesday night. So there's a lot of things that work around it. And then on top of that, NBA playoffs are here. So I'm locked and loaded in the NBA playoffs. That's probably number one every night for me now at this point until June. So I'm trying to find ways to balance it out too, especially, and not, have it cake eat it too. It's kind of thing, but it's challenging. It is. There's just so much content. And not only that, it's not just so much content. There's so much good content out there. Like, there's shows, podcasts I listen to. I listen to, like, Bill Burr's podcast. I listen to, Charlamagne the God, The Brilliant Idiots, and things of that nature. Andrew Schultz's podcast. I love the comedy podcast especially too. I find the comedy podcasts are awesome. But I also love wrestling podcasts because it's the storytelling. I have, between Something to Wrestle and that's been kind of downhill for the last couple of years because Pritchard has been dedicated to working with WWE. But you have the podcast with Jake St. Roberts, you have the podcast with Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle, and they tell fantastic stories. Now, luckily, a lot of their material is evergreen, so I don't have to listen to it in the moment. I'm worried about the stuff that's in the now, the first takes, and then you have like the political stuff I was listening to. I listen to like Rising on the Hill, Breaking Points. I listen to more independent media because I find the CNNs of the world and the Fox News of the world and MSNBCs of the world way too biased and way too agenda driven. I want people calling down the middle, bottom line, and that's how I am. So you have that other issue to sift through as well too with content. But that's my problem, right? So one more thing. Last week we were actually in the market for television, a TV. Our bedroom television, my wife and I's bedroom TV. After we had it since 2008. I remember this too because we got the TV. We got that TV actually the day of Game 1 of the 2008 Finals between the Celtics and the Lakers. That's 2008. So that TV, we had this TV since 2008 for basically 15 years, and it's kind of taking a shit last couple weeks. Like the screen goes out, blacks out, that kind of thing. So the TV is pretty much done. At least we think it's done. So we haven't really needed a new TV for a while because even the last couple TVs we bought, I think the last TV we actually bought was probably in 2014. It was really for us at the time, but we did it because we were moving to a new place and it was a smaller TV. It's like a 28-inch, 29-inch because it was a smaller room at the time. At the time, we were living at an old apartment. But we haven't really bought TVs much, or at all, in the last decade, pretty much. And we're going shopping with TVs, and I'm amazed at how cheap TVs are these days. So we got a 32-inch. We ended up getting a 32-inch TV. It's a Roku TV, actually, a smart TV, Roku. And the thing costs $100. That's it, $100, 32-inch TV. The same type Roku TV, that's a 60-inch, I believe, I saw at Walmart, was only $330. I'm amazed at how cheap TV has gone. Like, I remember saying this a couple years ago. I remember seeing that, talking about pre-COVID, that TVs are cheap. But even now, I can right now, and I almost ended up buying it last week. I really considered buying a 60-inch TV in the house just to have it for under $400. I was stunned. TVs are cheap these days. Now, my question is the quality still good? Now, some of our TVs have been pretty good. So, I'm not going to lie. I wanted a bigger TV in the room. My wife and I be battling that. I like bigger TVs. My wife prefers smaller TVs. I don't know why, to be honest with you. But it works, whatever. It's a little smaller than the TV we had before, but she loves it. That's all that matters. She loves it, and I love it. Who gives a crap? But I was amazed at how cheap TVs are these days. Amazed. Like, I can buy a 70-inch TV right now for under $500. And I mean, I'm assuming too that the quality is good enough too. I'm assuming that. I think also too, I think a lot of it too also the fact that a lot of people watch shows on their phones now, watch shows on their iPads, and I get that. I'm the same way too in some ways. And so people are buying less TVs these days. But I didn't think it'd be that cheap though. I was stunned. And we got this 32-inch nice TV too, 32-inch TV, flat screen, for $100. Actually, it was marked at $96. So with taxes, it's like coming out to like 109, 104, some shit. Yeah, I was stunned. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking cheap. Wow. So, yeah, if you're marked for TV, man, go to Walmart, go to Target. You find good deals there. You really will. So, anyway, that would do this podcast, dated 4/20, as I said earlier in the pod. Again, I'm on Twitter at EJChris7. Guys, also, subscribe to my other podcast, Earnestly Unfiltered. That is a sometimes daily, not always daily, but it is a topic-centric pod. I actually dropped 2 episodes last night on the feed. One was about Jalen Hurts and his new contract. The other one was about, what was it? Jalen Hurts. The other one was about Draymond Green's suspension, which I actually agree with. Check it out, find out why. So I have that going. But I tend to do topics. Most of the topics on there also especially are topics that are less evergreen in the moment. That's in the moment kind of thing. You know, I try to keep that for there. I try to keep this show obviously more evergreen, long form, guest. And that show, for the record, also, those episodes are less than 10 minutes. Most of them less than 10 minutes anyway. Most of them are. Some of them go a little over 10. I know one last week they went close to 20, but that was because of the situation. But those tend to be very short form pods and topic centric. So anyway, that'll do it for me. I'm out of here. I'm going to go pick up my kids up from school. We will talk soon and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thanks.